We've done it. We've survived Ragnarok. God of War Ragnarok. It's the biggest game of 2022. Elliott and I have played it. We finished it, and we have a lot to talk about.
Let's summon our courage and face Ragnarok!
Time is running out. The prophecies say Fimbulwinter leads to Ragnarok. War is coming.
You don't really want war. All that blood on your hands, on your son's hands.
Fate only binds you if you let it. We will make our own destiny.
God of War Ragnarok is the follow-up to God of War 2018, which was kind of a reboot for the God of War series. Now, God of War Ragnarok follows a couple of years later. Atreus is all grown up, right?
Yeah.
What's changed since we last saw Kratos and Atreus?
Kratos, he was all about training his son in the last game. And then at the beginning of the second game, it was like in a cave. And Atreus got this deer. And I wonder why. And then just it left. Like that little cave scene, boom, out.
Well, they were hunting, right? That scene is meant to set up the fact that Atreus is a young man now. He's a teenager. He's learned to hunt all by himself. That was the big part of the beginning of the first God of War. You're teaching him how to hunt. And the very first scene of Ragnarok is meant to show you Atreus doesn't need to have his hand held anymore, right?
He's not a baby no more.
Not a baby no more. There are new enemies. A lot of bad guys are introduced in this game. The threat is much bigger.
And more deadlier, for sure.
Way more deadlier. In fact, they're facing the end of the world, basically. Ragnarok is coming, and it's going to destroy all 9 realms, and it's up to Kratos and Atreus to figure out a way to
save them.
To save everybody.
And if they don't, then Ragnarok is over and they're dead.
You get this whole team assembled that is helping you, and you're going on all these missions. You travel all across the 9 realms. What was your favorite realm?
My favorite realm was probably the Hellwalkers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I like the Hellwalk beasts because at the beginning of the game I didn't like the chains, and now I do because they're much easier to fight, and the axe just...
Oh, Kratos' weapons?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, let's talk a little bit about the combat, because the combat in this game...
is amazing.
It's not only...
It's off the line.
It's off the line.
It's off Kratos' axe.
It's off the axe. It's off the chain.
Ready! Together!
They've taken a really great battle system. The first God of War had amazing combat. This one is so much bigger. The weapons, each weapon that you get in the game, like Kratos' Leviathan axe, they all have elemental damage to it. So what can you do with the axe?
You can make it ice, like when you hold down the button to throw it. And also you can like press a certain button to make it ice and attack with it.
What about the Blades of Chaos? What are those powered with?
They're powered with fire and sometimes I remember lava too.
Because you can level up your weapons both with like combos and new skills, but
and
also
level up Atreus.
Yeah, and also the elemental.
He has his own skill tree.
He does have his own skill tree. The creature design. Oh my gosh, the creatures that Kratos fights in this game, like the boss battles, are so cool. They're just really interesting creature designs, like the wyverns, those flying bird-like dragon guys. There's huge monsters that rip out of portals in the fabric of space and time. One thing that is really important with all of our reviews here at Megadads is we always talk about the family focus.
Yes.
We talk about if a game is appropriate for kids or if it's just for the Megadads and the Megamoms. This is a game for the grown-ups, right?
Yeah.
However, you're saying to yourself watching this video, but your 8-year-old son is playing God of War, and you're telling me that my son can't play? When we play these games, we play them together as a father and son, and we We decide as we go through if we think this is too scary, if we think this is too effective. We have conversations about it. We know that just because you see something and just because you hear something doesn't mean that it's okay for us to do in the real world, right? Because we are real people
and human beings.
And we're human beings, and that is a video game, a fantasy story. There's actually a scene early in this game that I appreciated as I'm sitting with my son playing this grown-up game. Atreus swore. Atreus swears at the beginning of the game, and Kratos turns it into a lesson. He says, I heard what you said. And Atreus is like, well, I was really nervous and I was scared because I thought I was going to die. And he says, would you want that to be the last word that you ever say? And it's a lesson, because bad language is not good to say, right? So he turned it into a lesson. God of War taught my son not to swear, because it's naughty.
It's naughty! So this game is like a really big game, and it has a lot of story that like pops out at you. And you never know what's coming, and there's so much surprises. And
you know what? That's a really good point, because with this being a sequel, a lot of times when you play like the second game in a series, it's more of the same. God of War Ragnarok has so many surprises and changes your expectations, what you think is coming, around every corner. And like you said, this is a really long game with a lot of story that will, I mean, I didn't know where it was going. We had a bet, and we were both wrong. We were both wrong. we both had this idea of what we thought how the game was going to end. I was so sure that I was right. He was sure that he was right. We were both wrong. I think the acting in this game is phenomenal. There are so many moments between Kratos and Atreus and a lot of the other characters
that are new.
I cried several times.
You cried like 10 times. I
don't think it was 10.
Well, like 5. But I
Maybe
never
10.
cried once. He gets emotional in this game.
It's a game about being a dad. God of War Ragnarok is the ultimate sequel. It's bigger, it's better, it's more polished, it is full of surprises and gameplay that you just don't want to set the controller down. When Elliott and I finally got to the end credits, we had been playing for like 6 hours straight. This game is absolutely phenomenal.
Amazing!
It's absolutely amazing. We love it so much. PlayStation knocked it out of the park.
A final score is 5 out of 5.
Boy!
Fate only binds you if you let it. Do what is necessary. Not because it is written. We will make our own destiny.